Hello, everyone. Welcome to Ask the Planman. Everything you want to know about finance, insurance, and more. I'm your host, Bruce Weinstein, and we are super excited to be talking with Omar Medrano, author of an Amazon best-selling book, What If It Did Work? Omar is a highly successful entrepreneur who has been a serial franchise owner for the past 2 decades and is now referred to as the vacation CEO. Stay tuned for more on that. Welcome, Omar, to Ask the Planman. Let me start you out with, tell everybody how you got started in the world of franchising, not finance, franchising.
Hey, that's okay, because I was in the world of finance a million years ago. The world of franchising, it all started with me wanting to be, when I was in finance, when I was a financial advisor, a Tony Robbins coach. I didn't know what Tony Robbins was. My ex-wife did at the time. She was all into the woo-woo stuff. And he came in onto our sales meeting, a bunch of Edward Jones reps, and he's like, would you like to double your sales, triple your sales in less time? Come down, 2-for-1 special next month. The great Anthony Robbins. Well, I overheard about Anthony Robbins. I thought I was going to be the hero for my wife at the time. So I bought her tickets 2-for-1. I never thought I was going to leave. I loved being in sales. I loved dressing the part, man. I dressed the part just for you for this episode. And we went to the seminar. My wife at the time, she was a pharmaceutical rep for Abbott Labs. I was a financial advisor for Edward Jones representatives. And in the middle of the seminar, I don't know if it was after the firewalking or whatnot, I'm like, this isn't for me, man. I'm tired of working hard. I'm tired of just working on commission. And it was always someday. The road to someday always leads to a town called never. That someday was never going to happen until that very moment. We decided, and we committed to being our own bosses.
And so that led you to get into the franchise space. What I want to talk about for the audience here is the world of franchising and giving them an understanding of maybe how it operates and then how they might go about doing it. So what was your process in uncovering opportunities and then eventually selecting with what you did?
The way that I got into franchising, it was all emotional. In business, never use emotions. We jumped into Smoothie King because I went to school in Louisiana. I went to LSU, just like Shaq.
Yeah, go Tigers.
Go Tigers, an amazing school. Well, it was based at the time out of New Orleans, so there was one on every corner. So we decided Smoothie King, just based on emotions. That meant, like, if I grew up or if I went to school in friggin' Detroit for some reason, okay, if I would have gone to Ohio, would have been a different franchise. I felt like I would be having that connection again with Louisiana, with being an 18-year-old and my fraternity president buying me my first ever smoothie. That was an emotional connection. Never lead based on emotions in business.
I was going to say, if you went to Detroit, it might have been Domino's or Little Caesars or something like that, right? They're from that area. And Ohio, in the Columbus area, I forget the name of it now, but there's an ice cream that the Graders or something.
No, Wendy's is based out of. Yeah,
Wendy's. Okay, I'm thinking Grader's ice cream. You can find that in the shelves, but
Graders is based out of Ohio, but outside of Columbus. They're all over Ohio. I love the ice cream. You could get it at Whole Foods.
Yeah, now they have it. It's national. Anyway, we digress. So you picked Smoothie King. Now I have some familiarity, but nowhere near very verse on the world of franchising. But somebody said to me once, the way you start out is, what do you want franchising to do for you?
Mm-hmm.
And so as you look at the opportunities, and there's dozens, if not hundreds of them out there, is some of them, and I think this is where you became the vacation CEO, some of them allows you to be let other people run the franchise for you, and ones that you work in. I don't know what they're called specifically, and then go ahead.
Oh, owner operator. Yes. In the world of franchising, When you just buy one franchise, congratulations. You just bought yourself a job. Good for you, man. Went to college, did all that, took out an SBA loan just so you can say, hey, would you like a medium with that? No. In order to make money in franchising, you're going to have to scale. You're going to have to take that leap of faith. The one, you bought yourself a job. Two, you're making a profit. Three, hey, you can be the vacation CEO. Four, five, beyond, congratulations. You're on the road to prosperity. You're on the road to wealth. But yeah, clearly, if you only get one, congratulations. You did whatever you had to do. You did a job. Because there's nobody that can have only one location of anything and create a lifestyle. It's just not going to happen.
So what would you say, before we hit the book, on the franchising side, what would be the top 2 to 3 things somebody new looking to get into franchising, what top 2 or 3 things should they be considering besides the scaling piece? That's paramount. Is you're given a good hard lesson to start with, is if you're not prepared to do multiple units of whatever the franchise is, then realistically you're not going to have the wealth effect that you might have thought. So what else would people need to consider?
Okay, when you consider a franchise, the first thing you need to do is you need to grab that Entrepreneur magazine and you need to throw it out in the trash.
Useless?
Useless completely. Their scale, their number 1 to 500 is based on pay to play. How much advertising are you doing? Hey, Subway is an amazing franchise. Ask franchisees. Supercuts. I own 2 stores. Hey, passive income. It's incredible. Crazy, but believe it or not, Regis is one of the top advertisers in Entrepreneur magazine. Boom. What you do is you do your own research. They have to send you an FTD, which is a document. It's like worse than buying a gun. You have to wait multiple days. They'll send it to you. You read the prospectus. You read to see how profitable these stores are. You read to see how many stores have closed. You read to see, is there anyone suing the system?
And then it scares you off.
Well, there's the good, the bad, the ugly, and all of it. And I'm not going to tell you to follow your passion, because everybody hears that beautiful story. Follow your passion. Man, we heard it. It was a great speech by Steve Jobs. Follow your passion. If I followed my passion, I'd own an LSU apparel store somewhere here in Dade or Broward County, which would be a failure. My second passion is I love...
Sorry, we have an affinity to purple. So go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, you see, purple is a majestic color. It's a powerful color. My second passion would have been a snowboard shop, because I love Burton snowboards. I love being out in the mountains. I love Steamboat. I love Colorado. I'm like John Denver, Rocky Mountain High. But unfortunately, I wouldn't be making money here. Don't follow your passion. Follow what you're good at. If Millie, my wife at the time, and I were to do it all over again, we'd be in the financials. We would be selling insurance. We were 2 salespeople. We didn't need to be in QSRs. Quick service restaurant, and that was all based on emotions.
So how long were you? I don't know if you still have it today or not.
No,
so
I don't.
You sold out of those. That's what I thought. But so how long did you have it, and what got to the point that said it's time to move on for you?
When did we realize it was time to move on? In any business, you have to have an exit strategy, an exit plan. It's very narcissistic to say, hey, I'm going to will it to my kids. I'm going to do this. I'm going to live forever. No, you're not. The first thing that you need to do as being an entrepreneur is have a business plan. And if you don't have one, the second best time to do it is right this second. Unfortunately, Millie and I, when we separated, we got divorced, we did not have an exit strategy. In fact, the franchise left us. The franchise was sold. The founders sold it to a Korean guy who decided that discounting everything was the best policy, because, hey, nothing says professionalism. Nothing says you have a quality product, unlike when you're discounting. $5 Friday, you breathe, we give you a discount. Both of us, we weren't on board with that. And unfortunately, what happened What happened was Millie and I, we were vocal because we were pioneers. We brought it to Florida. There was nothing out here. We created the market for Smoothie King, but the founder appreciated it. The Korean guy didn't appreciate it. What he did, hey, bless his heart. What he did, and the CEO, the COO, the Kevin Kings, the Dan Harmons, they kicked us out of the system. They red tagged us. But the beauty of it was I was unhappy. I just didn't know how to exit.
They did you a favor.
They did me a favor. At the time, it felt horrible. And it felt horrible for my ex-wife because that's all we all we did for 20 years. There was no thank you. There was no, hey, you did an amazing job. What they did was they manipulated it in such a way to say sayonara. And when both of us left, there wasn't even a thank you for 20 years. It was just crickets.
Don't let the door hit you in the behind.
Oh, exactly. But the craziest thing is, you're going to love this, Bruce, is when it comes to Smoothie King, to this very day, I plug them because we're talking about Smoothie King now, right?
Right.
My podcast has Smoothie King. My book references Smoothie King. Entrepreneur Magazine wrote an article saying that my book was one of the top books. Mentions Smoothie King.
Can't get away from it.
My second book mentions Smoothie King. I love the product. I don't love those three people. But the best part about it is I felt like I was going to be given a thank you for your service. Thank you for your time. I told that to Dan Harmon, the COO. I'm like, look at everything I did. And all this, they've never plugged my book, never will. In fact, his parting words were, get this, I don't care.
Nice.
Yeah. In fact, the best part, would you want to be associated? Would you want to be aligned with people that are cutthroats? Because that's a cutthroat, man. If somebody told me, hey, this is everything that I've done for you, and I still promote you, I would be like, hey, thank you. Thank you. They wanted us out because they wanted to bring in another guy that was buying stores throughout the system, a yes guy. And it was manipulation because they got Millie out of the system. And then they're like, hey, don't worry, Omar. We want you. We're being paranoid because they wanted me to sell to the same guy for pennies at the dollar. But at the end of the day, it's all about culture. They did me a favor because, heck, if I dropped dead, they wouldn't have felt sorry for me. They would have been like, hey, let's see how we can capitalize that. In a franchise or in any business, you want to get aligned with the right people that have your best interests at heart.
Well, culture is a key component of that, and getting to trust the people that you're partnering with is paramount, as your experience has proven. So where along the way, you mentioned a second book, so I know I've read the first. I've read the book. What If It Did Work? Is that your first book or is that your second book?
No, What If It Did Work is the first book. And that literally took, people ask me, how long did it take me to write that book? And I said nearly 48 years. But that's just a joke. It literally took me less than 90 days. The second book is entitled The Vacation CEO. And The Vacation CEO is a book on how to be an entrepreneur, how to be an owner. Most people, most solopreneurs, most entrepreneurs are not business owners. They don't own the business. The business owns them. Why is this taking so long? This book, I'm working on my last chapter forever. This isn't me, though. My editor is going through some family issues. But if it was me, you know my personality. It's like, let's get this thing out now so I can work on my third, my fourth, my fifth book. So no, it's out of my hands.
So the second book's not out yet.
It's not out yet. It's once it's out, everybody will know about it.
So let's talk about the book that is out that people can get their hands on. I have read it. A lot of parallel upbringings for the two of us and some of our histories, including that Wall Street background. So it was fascinating to resonate how somebody 1,000, 1,200 miles apart from each other grew up with very similar single parent, and financial backgrounds. So how did What If It Did Work come about? and let's share with the audience the epicenter of the book, and then we circle back to Vacation CEO that's coming soon.
For sure. What if it did work? The universe was aligned. The God was aligned with me. Things don't happen coincidentally. They're not randomness. At the time in my life, I was with a woman that it took me 40 years to ask out. That didn't work out. She said sayonara at the same time that Smoothie King said, "Who are you now?" After 20 years. So I was going through, I guess, cliche, an existential crisis. I don't know what that means, but I hear about it all the time. Just as shit hit the fan on a personal, on a business level, and I was put out at a door. And I always said, one day I should write a book. And that one day happened because that was the moment I decided. It's actually a rewrite, though, believe it or not, that book.
How so?
Well, I wrote it, the original script, the original copy, from my ex-girlfriend's place, going through the editor, Corona, and whatnot. But the book was more sales-oriented, to just ask for the sale. And just asking for a date, because I grew up with this woman, and that's all in the past. I felt if then, maybe my life would be complete if I went with somebody from my past, somebody that I grew up with, my neighbor, somebody that was my biggest fan until we started going out. It was more of an ode to her that asking for the sale was asking her out. So, in fact, there's only a little minor mention about it. It was actually a typo. It says one of my biggest regrets is asking out somebody that I grew up with.
So if somebody were to pick up the book, what would be the 2 or 3 big takeaways that they would get from reading the book? And it is a fairly quick read. It's not War and Peace. I read it at an afternoon sitting at the beach and enjoyed it. So what would you say 2 or 3 takeaways people could take?
2 or 3 takeaways from my book? That's a good question. No, here. The 2 or 3 takeaways from my book. The first takeaway is we're living in our dash. I tell people all the time, I was born July 24th, 1973. I'm writing my obituary. I don't know when my day comes, but I do know that I am in control of my life. You are in control of your life. You're the master of your life. You're the creator of your destiny. Everything that you ever wanted is in control. You want to be an investor? Be an investor. Decide, have the intentions that you are going to be an investor. You have clarity now. Do something about it. Quit being on the sidelines, although the past 6 months, maybe being on the sidelines is the right. But do something, man. Do something. Decide, commit, take action. And you know what? There's no such thing as failure. Worst case, it's a learning experience. On to the next. That's the first thing on it. The second point in my book that I would have to say is we need to get over our fears. The second point is that get over your fears, man. I felt unworthy. I felt unloved. I felt abandoned. That's my history. We all have a history. No, go ahead.
We all have our head trash. We all carry our baggage. And what I got out of your story in the book is the painful upbringing that you had and the baggage that you brought into adulthood was then prohibiting you from doing the things because of lack of self-confidence. And eventually you got yourself to a point to obtain that self-confidence and basically challenging yourself, well, what if it did work? What if she did go out with me? What if I did get that job? What if I did ask for that sale?
Exactly, because everybody focuses on the negativity. Why are you going to focus on why things cannot happen? Yeah, on a date, man, she's going to say no. If she says no, who cares, man? On to the next. I don't live in Mayberry. On with the next. If she says no, that's her loss, man. I used to do a video a long time ago that growing up, people's fathers treated me like dirt. But that's a Hispanic way because, hey, I'm the big man. I want the world for my princess. And I would always say that if they knew who I was going to be, the man that I was going to become, they would put me on the recliner and they would feed me pigs in the blanket. And that's a Coming to America reference. McDowell. No, man. But honestly, quit living in history. Quit living in her story. Use it to motivate. Use it to inspire. I talk about it just to sell. I don't live in my past anymore.
You can't. You can't. I mean, we've got enough laps around the universe, right? Laps around the sun. And eventually you have to get out.
And people have had way worse circumstances, Bruce, than you and I. And if they can accomplish, if they can achieve, what's stopping us? Life isn't fair. There's no luck, man. Sorry. Some people have had a better deck of cards, but with the cards you have, man, go for it.
No, you have no excuse.
No excuses, man.
It's all random. Nobody's at least predetermined that we know. You've got to go out and make your plight in the world and carve your path. And some people are sheep, and some people are shepherds. Now, you and I have another commonality. We're both Leos. I'm July 25th, so you said July 24th. And so we are, well, I got 10 years on you, but we are Leos, and by nature, Leos, the lion, are more leaders and trailblazers than followers. And so what you learned early on and what I learned early on is I can't really work for anybody. I've been pretty much self-employed, eat what I shoot since I'm 23 years of age, and have always earned my own paycheck by going out and making it happen.
You and I have learned that we're way smarter than any boss that we ever had. I had bosses that would never implement. And I would look at them and I go, this guy's my boss? This guy's my boss? That's the reason. That's the Leo in us. When we know the right path, we know there's more to the pie. Why are we going to work for someone else? Why are we going to create someone else's dreams, someone else's destiny? Because they don't have much faith in us. It's not like, hey, let's have Bruce, let's have Omar work hard because they're going to be partners with us. No, man, they're not thinking about our lives. They're thinking of what they want, and that's fine and dandy. But you know what? At the end of the day, my destiny, I want to be in control of. My paycheck, I want to be in control of. And I know you have the same thoughts, the same feelings. You want to be in control of your own destiny.
100%. There's a meme out there of, elderly gentleman with, his arms crossed, leaning back on his, let's say, Lamborghini of some kind.
Oh, I love it. Yes.
Right? And it said, he goes, now, if you work as hard as you did last year and really break your back and put in some overtime, I could probably get a second one of these next year. Which basically,
it's 100% true.
Right.
My first job out of college, $15,000 a year, and this isn't 1950. This is 1996, so it's still crap. It was below minimum wage because it was salary. I was working way more than 40 hours. TV station, the owner would buy all their family members every year a brand new Boxster. But when it came to a measly 50-cent raise, it just wasn't in the budget.
Yeah, we don't have that, but Porsche's for everyone.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, I got out of journalism because when you go to school, what they teach you that's fantasy land, man. What I learned wasn't the real world. When I got into the real world, I wish I could have brought my professors because there was people in there that didn't have degrees in communications, and life isn't fair. But yeah, after that, I had one more job in journalism. Well, I wouldn't even say journalism. It was communications. I was the producer of the Jimmy Swaggart Show, and yeah, exactly. 4, 5, 6 months of that, and I was like, holy smokes, man! A nice Catholic guy going into the that world, the non-denominational, like if from the fire into the deep inferno, yes, but things happen for a reason. After that, I realized if I wanted a life of poverty with an education, I would have just gone to seminary school.
There you go. All right, I'm just looking at the clock. I got one more area to hit with you, and we'll start to bring it to a close. So I understand now you're doing business coaching, you're mentoring entrepreneurs, helping them find a true balance between business and family. So, and I'm sure it ties into Vacation CEO, but what I would find and pose, and I want your opinion on it, is how does somebody new in business truly find balance between their business and their family at the early stages? Sacrifice has to be made. How do people handle that?
Unfortunately, life isn't fair. When you become an entrepreneur, you can't scale out, man. You have to put in your time. You have to put in your dues. You should know that. When you first started, there was no family life. You sacrifice. It's like that other meme. You sacrifice a few years. Yes, there's no microwave to success. I'm sorry to say, but if you put in that time, you put in that energy, you put in that effort, then you can be the vacation CEO. But yes, you're going to have to work weekends. But being an entrepreneur, I tell this all the time, and sometimes people get startled. Not everybody's designed to be an entrepreneur. Not everybody's designed to be on commission. Some people, their happy place is working for someone else because they need their 40-hour work week. They need their holidays. They need Friday, Saturday, Sunday. They need the 3-day. They need their birthday off.
We said there's sheep and there's shepherds.
Oh, exactly.
There's a lot of people that just want to follow the herd, that herd mentality. We know it from Wall Street. And so, as they say, bulls make money, bears make money, pigs get slaughtered, right? So sheep usually get slaughtered. You follow along. And
Bruce, you're going to laugh. People that are in this world of socialism, they're dancing in the streets because they see the financial world is on fire. What they don't understand is this is the time for a billionaire. This hurts Main Street. This hurts the middle class person because when their IRA, their little nest egg goes from 80,000 to 40,000, yes, that sucks. But the billionaire that you think he's losing billions of dollars, he's sitting on cash. And what he's getting ready to do is it's a sale, and it's like a Walmart / Bed Bath & Beyond. You have a 20% coupon. They're buying. So yes, socialists, dance and laugh because the billionaires on paper are worth less, but just give it a couple of years and it's going to be like...
It's hard to feel sorry for somebody who went from 200 billion to 180 billion.
Oh, I know, but they are. Oh, Elon Musk is net worth. It's like, well, I don't know. I've never had a billion, but if I had 5 billion and I went down to 2 billion, I'd still be a billionaire. I'd still own a jet.
We could spend hours on this because we have 40 years plus background in the space, but the Warren Buffett principle goes back to 07, 8, 9 when the market crashed, and the only person stepping in and buying, lending money to Goldman Sachs and GE was Warren Buffett. So when everybody else is selling, he found ways to buy and put his capital to work because he's that contrarian investor.
Everybody's wondering what happened to crypto. What happened to crypto? Same thing with stock market. Same thing with housing. When you have Joe Bob the plumber telling you to buy Ethereum, to buy Dogecoin, to buy this, to buy that, that's the time to panic and to get the hell.
I got a whole other show on that, so don't jump into my...
No, but I'm just saying.
I appreciate it.
When people are leaving the exit, that's when you enter. That's when... This is the time to buy. When nobody wants to buy a stock, when nobody wants to invest, this is the time. If you have money laying around, this is the time, man. It's not when Amazon's at an all-time high and Apple and all that. But that's the hysteria. That's when everybody's like, oh, I made 5%.
It's buy high and hope to sell higher instead of buying low and waiting. People always fear when things are moving down, it's going to go down more. And we use the term you catch a falling knife. People don't want to catch a falling knife, so wait till it hits the ground, and then you figure out, is it safe to pick it up?
But with the falling knife, what happens is people don't listen. Enron, WorldCom, Planet Hollywood, they were worthless, and they kept on going down, and they were given the chance to sell, and people kept on DCAing at dollar cost averaging.
I'll buy more. Loosen.
Buy more. Now, Amazon will still be around. Apple will still be around. Google, yes, buy that. That's not a falling knife. But when you hear companies, you hear people, oh, well, I'm at 60% down. Let me throw some more money in it. Oh, that sounds like a great idea.
It certainly depends on what it is and the lessons that we talk about. The show is Ask the Plan Man. We believe people should have a plan for buying a franchise, plan on being an entrepreneur, and not just winging it. And the same goes true with the investments, as you're talking about, is what's the plan for this investment? How much am I putting in? How much am I always used, again, we're going down a rabbit hole and running out of time.
Well, because we're like-minded people, man. We know about it. This is what our livelihood.
Stocks have charts. And so you look at the barriers of the stocks, where one level down is and then where another one is, and you would make an assessment saying, I'm comfortable buying it between here and here, but if it falls to here and here, I think I need to reassess and get out. It doesn't mean I now buy more. I might buy more in here if it's staying in that track, but not down here. So anyway, let's save that for another call. We'll get you back on for more investment stuff.
But stocks, charts don't lie. History always repeats itself. The head and shoulder patterns, the cup and handle, those are all, if it's been working for 80 years, it's going to work when you and I are long gone. People just don't think, well, one, they don't follow that. They just do, it's irrational. That's why I said emotions. Never use emotions in business. Never use emotions in buying stock. If you own Apple or you own Nike, but you're bleeding out, you're not selling out a company. It's a piece of paper. You bought it on the secondary. You're not going to be hanging out with Phil Knight. You're not going to be hanging out with Woz at the shareholder meeting. You're not hurting anybody. This is your livelihood. This is your life.
So we'll put a kind of a so what stamp on this regarding the stocks. We took a pivot away from franchising and entrepreneurship to being in the markets. That's okay. Don't lose sight of the fact that when at least I started in the 80s, you came in the 90s, the computer trading world, and here comes it's electronic trading, it's a lot of computers and it's algorithms. It's not even human interaction anymore. And so if you don't think they look at the math and the charts and the plotting to calculate those algorithms and use those bands, and then if it breaks here, then do this, that's where you get the program selling coming in, because as they breach those resistance points in the past or support points in the past, stocks will gap up and down, and they will fall apart, or in cases, they will melt up when the shorts are getting clobbered.
What people don't understand is one position that you can have. I know cash is trash, but cash isn't trash when the market is decelerating. When there's more sellers than buyers, what's wrong with sitting on the sideline waiting for it to...
Well, Wall Street's never going to tell you that, because they don't make any money on you sitting in cash. And they need you, the sucker, to go buy the stuff they're trying to unload, which they're never going to give you a sell signal.
You need a buyer. You need a seller, and you need a buyer. So that's why what people don't understand is when I told you Entrepreneur Magazine, don't trust that. Don't trust the financial magazines. Don't trust CNBC. When they're telling you to buy what mutual fund and what stock, take a look. They just did a commercial for 30 seconds, Exxon or whoever they're touting, man. I mean, you buy a magazine, these are our stock recommendations. These are the mutual funds we recommend. And oh my gosh, are you telling me Goldman Sachs just had a front page, a back page? Oh, Lord Abbott has an ad in there? What, American funds? Oh, wow. Just coincidentally, the magazines, just coincidence. So they're saying that, to buy this fund that they sponsor.
All right, I'm going to bring us to a close. Omar, it's been a pleasure having you here again. Check out Omar's book, What If It Did Work, and soon to release The Vacation CEO, Anybody who is looking to be in an entrepreneurial space or getting into franchising, certainly communicate. We're going to put Omar's contact information in the show notes down below. For you out there listening, please like, subscribe, and share our podcast and YouTube channel. We would love to hear from you. Please send us your questions to bruce@asktheplanman.com. You can visit our website, www.asktheplanman, or give us a call on our toll-free line, 1-844-PLANMAN. Again, Omar, thank you so much for embarking your wisdoms with us and your experience and being a little bit vulnerable and putting it out there. So thank you so much. I was really looking forward to having you. And to the audience out there, thank you for joining us today at Ask the Planman. Remember, when you need some advice, always get it right. Come ask the Planman. I don't even know what my show's called. Come ask the Planman. Everybody needs a plan. And as Mike Tyson says, everybody has a plan until what, Omar?
You get punched right in the face.
Till they get punched in the face. So overcoming adversity and what if it did work will help you take better attitude adjustments on overcoming adversity. That's our lesson for today. Thanks again, everybody, for listening to Ask Planman. Until next time, I'm Bruce Weinstein. We'll see you soon.
When you need some advice, never sacrifice, always get it right. Ask the Planman. Finance, insurance, and more.